Domi-jorim, or braised red snapper, is traditional court food, a soft taste with fancy garnish. Vegetables add a freshness. All foods have certain times when they taste best. Tomi is especially good in the spring. Learn about other fish dishes like deku jonkal, or cod stew, bunga-jim, steamed carp, and joki kui, broiled croaker, on Korean Food Story. Fresh fish dishes for your dinner table. Let's find out the secret in making them.
안녕하세요. Hello and welcome to More Than Kimchi. I'm Chung Ha-young. Domi, red snapper, has always been a prized fish in Asia. Japanese call it the king of fish for its rich taste. Today we'll be making Domi-jorim, braised red snapper. Now let's welcome Mrs. Lee Dong-sun, who will teach us today's dish. 선생님 안녕하세요. 오셔서 감사합니다. Also, I'd like to welcome Melanie Billings-yoon, our guest today. Hi Melanie,
Hi.
Thanks for coming. So today we're going to make a braised red snapper. So let's take a look at the ingredients first. This is Domi, which is red snapper. And for braising sauce, we have here sugar, soy sauce, and this is rice wine and corn syrup. And we're also going to add the green onion and dried red pepper and ginger. Ginger is a very nice addition for a fish dish. We always like to do that. And we're also going to actually decorate the fish later on. For that, we're going to use two kinds of mushroom, which is 표고버섯 and 석이버섯, Shiitake mushroom and stone mushrooms, and also we're going to use cucumber, carrot, and egg. So those are the ingredients. Also, we will use a little bit of vegetable oil later for stir frying the vegetables, and we'll use salt for the sprinkle on cucumber, which is oil for salting process. And also for 표고버섯 later, we will use soy sauce, sugar, and sesame oil for seasoning. So that's it, what we need for today. 시작할까요, 선생님?
네, 그러죠. 자, 도미조림이니까요. 자, 먼저 요거로 손질해 보도록 할게요.
네.
저기 멜라니도 한번 해보시겠어요?
So we'll prepare the braising. For
네,
braising
이거는,
sauce,
자, 크게 그냥 써세요.
you will just cut them in big pieces.
Okay, is this a leek?
Yes. Well, we call this pepper, which means literally large green onion. So you may use regular green onion, or you may use leek, or if you can find this kind of green onion, that would be fine. So these are the braising sauce that we're going to add in the braising sauce.
네, 생강도
And then
편으로 썰어주시고요.
ginger, you just slice in big pieces. And then for dried red pepper, this, you just take up the seeds inside.
Okay, is that because the seeds are too hot or because they're unattractive?
Well, both. Usually the real hot flavor is with the seeds, so we want to get rid of. Also make the dish looks a little bit neater. So take up the seed inside, and then we add to the braising sauce. So three kinds of vegetable as a spice. You have ginger, green onion, and dried red pepper. And for the sauce, you have soy sauce,
자,
간장.
간장을 이거 넣어주시고요.
You can add to your pan.
Okay, you put in about 3 spoons, did you?
네, 그리고
And then
설탕
sugar.
넣어주고 물엿 넣어주고요.
About 2 tablespoons. And then this is like a corn syrup, which we call 물엿. We will add the sugar, Melanie, next.
자, 맛술 넣어주고요.
I'll give you these spoons. So a little bit of 물엿 and sugar, and then rice wine. It's called 맛술.
So it will caramelize.
Yes. So that's the sauce we'll braise. Of course, we have to put a little bit of water.
1 of sugar, of the corn syrup?
Yes.
자, 그리고 물 넣어주세요.
Then I'll add water.
And how much rice wine?
About 2 tablespoons with your sauce. So for the braising, the sauce for the braising, we have soy sauce, you add water, and then sugar, and the corn syrup, and then rice wine.
Okay.
So that's it.
Simple enough.
Yes. And of course, we have the dried red pepper, and we also have ginger slices and green onions. So what we need to do is we need to score 5 different places to make a pocket. Let's take a look at what
칼집을
Mrs. Lee
이렇게 5
does.
군데 넣어주세요.
So the reason is later we're going to use that as a decoration to stuff the vegetables.
Okay, so she's tipping the knife a little bit and
And 5
cutting
different
in.
times you score the
Okay.
meat to make pocket. That's pretty good. Yes. It's about 5 or 4, depending on the size of your fish, of course.
Well, I'm learning from More Than Kimchi. It's always 5.
5, you are right. 5 is always a good number to use.
All right.
이렇게 넣어줘요.
So after you do that, we'll put it in that braising, the sauce for braising we made. Dip it in.
Ooh, ouch.
It's hot. Okay. Also, you need to use your spoon to put the sauce in it as you do it.
Give them a little bath.
Yes, that's right. It looks kind of nice brownish bath there. 이걸 얼마나 그렇게 해야 될까요, 선생님?
이거 한 30분 정도 졸여주세요. 은은한 불에서.
그렇죠. So this thing you don't really, as any fish dish, you probably do the same. You don't want to use too strong heat. About 30 minutes of slow braising is what you want to do.
그다음에 위에 올라가는 거 준비해보도록 할까요?
So as the fish is braising, we need to prepare the vegetables later, before I introduce to you. So we will do that. That we will use as a garnish.
네. 자, 요 당근도 지금 준비됐고요.
So we have carrots and cucumber and 2 kinds of mushrooms. So you can cut the
예, 전부
the
채를
carrots.
해주는데요.
We'll all-
고운 채.
네, you're gonna make a thin slice, Melanie,
So I
and then
cut
make
it
a
in half
strips.
first,
I
or-
think if it's easier to cut if you make a nice thin slice. Then it's easy for you to make the strips.
Okay.
So you make thin slice of the the carrots, which is 당근. After that, you turn it around, and then you make into very thin strips.
So julienne.
Julienne cut. And the thinner the better, because this we are using as a garnish at the top of the fish. And if you have a nice thin strips, it looks neater. Then again, we should do what we can do. So,
Well, and I think on one of the earlier shows we mentioned, but why not mention it again?
Okay.
That if you can use a mandolin to cut it quicker, why not?
that's right.
자, 그리고 오이는 껍질만 제가 썼는데요. 껍질만 돌려
네,
깎아서
그렇죠.
고운 채를
네.
제가 썰어줄게요.
So Melanie and I are preparing the carrots to make the garnish, but Mrs. Lee is cutting the cucumber. And as she did, you don't want to use the center part of the cucumber, which is kind of mushy because it's seedy part. You try to use the outer layer, which is crispier
And the
nice,
bright green
nice
color.
So you will also all make those nice strips for vegetables.
이거는 소금을 좀 뿌려줄게요.
네. So for cucumber, as I mentioned in the beginning, you sprinkle salt a little bit and let it sit for a while. The process, the reason is we want to sweat it out. We want to take the liquid out. So you need to sprinkle the salt and let it sit for a while, and you squeeze out the extra liquid later. So 이거를 선생님 접시 하나 주시면 이거 담을까요?
이렇게요.
So carrots are ready
여기다가
here,
좀 준비해 주시고요. 예.
and cucumbers being sprinkled with salt. And you wait for a while and squeeze out the extra liquid.
자,
The
그다음에
fish is
mushrooms.
kind of waving at us over there.
Yes, smell very nice. Cooking very good.
그다음에 이제
And the next step is the
표고버섯하고요.
표고버섯, which is Shiitake mushroom. You buy the dried forms usually from the market, but after you soak it in hot water for a while, about 20 to 30 minutes, and then it becomes very soft. Take out the stem, and then you're going to slice thinly again. And while Mrs. Lee is preparing the 표고버섯, Melanie, you and I can do this 석이버섯. This is called 석이버섯, which are stone mushrooms. And what you do is you roll it before you slice, because this makes it easier to slice. Then you get to slice
You know,
those.
the name of that is stone mushroom, but I think in reality it's a tree fungus, isn't
Is
it?
that-
Not
yeah,
actually a mushroom.
Definitely. The reason we call it stone mushrooms because they grow on the surface of rocks. So that's how it got
So it's
the
a fungus.
fungus, yes. And I think I prefer word mushroom than
It's a much
fungus,
nicer
yes.
word, that's true.
But it does grow on the surface of the rocks, therefore we call stone mushrooms.
But I think very often if you try and buy these in the West, they'll come under the name of tree fungus or stone fungus.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I've rolled it up and I now just go chop all the way
chop
down.
very thin strips again. And then you slice them as you do it, oops, and make a thin strips. So we have stone mushrooms, we have carrots, and then cucumber over there. The one more thing is egg. Egg, we made the crepes already. As usual, we'll make the yellow crepes and white crepes, and then make the strips again. Then that will be it for the decorating the fish.
자, 요거는 이제 중간중간.
네.
예, 그렇게 해주세요.
So here we have white strips of egg white strips, And then Mrs. Lee cut the egg yolk strips, which is yellow color we're going to add. Okay. The fish is almost done while we are preparing
윤기 나기
those.
시작하죠?
You can see, you know, it does nice shiny look. That's what I was mentioning with this sauce. You're still going to take a little bit longer than Mrs. Lee's over here.
자, 여기 그 표고버섯은 양념을 좀 해주셔야 되는데요. 간장 양념 조금 해주시고요.
네.
간장 조금, 그리고 참기름 좀 넣어주시고요.
I'll pass you
설탕 조금 넣어주세요.
the sesame oil. So for 표고버섯, which is Shiitake Mushroom, you're going to season with three things: sesame oil, sugar, and also the soy sauce. Before we cook, sugar, sesame oil, and soy sauce. Add those seasonings. So basically, all the ingredients for decorating we finished. All the vegetables, so we need to stir fry them. And the cucumber we salted before. It's time to squeeze out the liquid. The reason we do this is you know, it becomes a lot crunchier, and it's kind of nice, chewy after you
So
do
you
it.
don't need to wash the salt off.
No, you don't, because with the liquid it will come out. And do not over sprinkle, of course, your salt. Don't be too generous. And then you squeeze out the liquid, and it becomes a nice green strips.
네, 그래서 식용유 좀 주시겠어요?
네. Here's a vegetable oil for stir frying vegetables.
자, 식용유 조금
그럴까요?
넣으시고요. 네.
Then I'll give you a little bit of
And this is over high
vegetable.
heat,
Yes.
right?
그리고 요 석이버섯은 기름 두르지 말고 먼저
네.
이거는
그렇게
볶아주세요.
할까요?
예.
So while Mrs. Lee is doing it, I will give this to Melanie. You can stir fry the 표고버섯, shiitake mushroom, which has been already seasoned. The rest
You
of the
just
ingredients we are not putting on other seasonings.
Such a very small amount of oil, so you don't need a lot of oil because you already have the sesame
Right,
oil.
sesame oil. Okay, so that's the shiitake mushroom we are stir frying. And then black stone mushrooms, you don't need any oil. You just stir fry briefly on the pan.
No oil.
And then add a little bit of vegetable oil and stir fry the vegetable that we prepared. 선생님, 캐럿을 먼저 하실까요?
How long am I to stir fry these
It
mushrooms?
just doesn't take that long, just
Well,
a couple
maybe
of
they're
minutes.
finished already.
Yes, that looks very good. They will add. And the vegetables we're going to stir fry there because usually we don't mix the mushrooms with the soy sauce and other vegetables. So, we'll
So
let
it's
them
important to keep all the vegetables separate?
separate. The reason is, you know, they're all different ingredients and it takes different time to cook. And we don't want to overcook and everything can keep it crispy the way it is. So we always cook separate in Korean food.
Korean food is really the cooking of perfection.
It is in some way, and we got habit of doing it. But for foreigners who try to learn Korean food, that's kind of sometimes difficult. Why would you do it when you can put all combined together? And if you don't have time, of course you can do that. But we do prefer cooking all separate. Like these kind of ingredients we also use for japchae, which you always cook each vegetable separate. And the reason is each vegetable or ingredients take different time of cooking. But for vegetable, remember, high heat, very brief cooking. That way you keep the crispiness. 그럼 준비가 다 됐죠, 선생님?
그리고 당근은 여기다 소금을 조금 넣어서 볶아주세요.
So the 5 ingredients for decorating, we have egg yolk, egg white strips, and we have carrot, and 2 kinds of mushrooms. And then over there, that's a cucumber, which is sprinkled with salt. You squeeze out the excess liquid, and then you stir fry very, very briefly. That way you keep the color. That's nice green. Yeah.
Vibrant green color. And I suppose it makes for a nicer presentation,
Yes,
too.
definitely. That's good.
자, 접시에다 옮겨볼게요.
Now we are ready to decorate it. 접시를 드릴게요, 선생님. Melanie would
접시를
need
그쪽에다
one more
하나
dish. Yeah.
줄까요?
We'll use this one.
네, 그러세요.
So your fish is ready to be decorated. You're going to take it out.
네, 요거는 다 빼시고요. 안에 있는 도미만.
Right.
예.
If you can pass this. So these are all braised domi, which is red snapper. And we'll only get the fish. I don't
Not
want to
the
break it. Not the vegetable, because those are just used for seasoning. And take it out.
Oh, that's really
Beautiful.
magnificent.
Yeah, let's put it this side. Nice brown
그다음에
color.
여기다가 여러 가지 색깔을 넣어주세요.
And then we'll
위에다가.
add the color on top of those pocket. There we just made. Aren't they pretty?
Now you said stuffing. You don't
Yeah.
press it down into the pocket?
You could, but also we are putting on top of those pockets. Some are going in, some stays at the top. And then next, we can use actually any colors. I'll use the green, which is cucumber. It's been sprinkled with salt, squeeze out the liquid, and then you stir fry very, very briefly. And then next I'm gonna use this carrot. Carrot has been seasoned only with salt, and then stir fried very briefly. See, the ones you cut a little thicker doesn't make any difference here, Melanie. It looks very nice.
So you put very mild seasonings on these vegetables so they don't compete with the fish.
No, that's right. And that's one reason we cook separate, even the vegetables. That you get to enjoy different color and different flavor.
조금만 넣어야 되겠네요.
And then I'll add a little bit of
Oh, this
white
is really
color.
lovely. It's a very festive
very
fish.
festive, yes. I mean, the cooking procedure wasn't very,
It's
complicated.
very simple.
But you can prepare this for your dinner or for your special guest. Look very nice. Now, what am I missing? We need one more there. The
Mushrooms.
mushrooms. 표고버섯, which is shiitake mushrooms, been seasoned with the sugar, salt, sugar and sesame oil and soy sauce, and then stir fried. There. It's nice.
And we don't pour the sauce back over
We
it?
don't need to, because the fish already absorbed all this delicious juice, and this black one that you prepared, we just sprinkle at the top.
That's really good. It's really
right
good
there.
that there were only 5 slots and 6 vegetables.
Right. That looks very, very nice. Well, let's show this one. They all look handsome. 2 handsome red snappers we
이렇게
prepared.
살려서 그냥 이렇게
네, 네. Looks
살려서
very
이거.
good. Where's ours? I don't know what happened.
I ate it.
So this is a braised red snapper, Domi-jorim. How do you like today's recipe?
Well, this is a great one because it looks like you've gone to so much more work than you really
Then
have.
actually, that's actually very good. So this is Domi-jorim we prepared. Let's review our recipe.
All foods have a certain time when they taste best. The taste of fish, in particular, depends on its time of spawning and migration. What kinds of Korean fish taste good in spring? Daegu, or codfish, is a popular spring fish enjoyed for its nice taste. Its taste combines well with mushrooms and vegetables, so many times it is cooked as soup. Many people lose their appetite in the spring. Preparing some daegu jeongkal, or cod stew, would be a good way to bring back their appetite. Adding wrapped lettuce and spinach to daegu jeongkal adds a nice fresh taste. Fish soup is generally made hot with red pepper powder, but if a fresh taste is preferred, season the salt only for a clear soup. Daegu literally means big mouth, and in fact, the cod has a bigger mouth than other fish. The taste of daegu is so nice, it is enjoyed in many different ways. On holidays, codfish is sliced thinly and dressed with flour and eggs to make pan-fried codfish. the taste of cod is best in Daegu Jeongkal. Croaker is an expensive fish in Korea. It tastes best when it is meaty. The special taste of croakers is at its best in the springtime. Croakers have a natural taste. It makes a fine dish in itself without having to season it. The best way to enjoy the fine taste of croakers is to boil it. Boiling it on a grill eliminates fish odor and makes the fish taste better. Sometimes, when croakers are in season, small ones are selected and sprinkled with salt. They can be kept and enjoyed even when they are not in season. Croakers that are sprinkled with salt and reserved are called kulbi. Kulbi is enjoyed all year round. As such, croakers are a spring fish that cannot be left out of Korean food. Carp is a freshwater fish that tastes best during spawning season between April and July. It is high in nutrition compared to other fish. Carp is loved by many who enjoy freshwater fishing. Even though it is high in nutrition, it is not commonly served. That is because the catches aren't large. Cooking methods differ for the different kinds of fish. Freshwater fish, such as carp and trout, taste best when they are cooked in soup, steamed, or deep fried. When making steamed carp, beef, and other ingredients can be added for more nutrition. Sometimes it is cooked hot with red pepper powder, and sometimes it is steamed only with salt. Steamed carp is a nice fancy spring dish. Koreans enjoy cooking with foods that are in season. That's why fish dishes are enjoyed in the spring. You can see various dishes during the different seasons of the year.
You have just learned about the various fish dishes in the spring, and Domi-jorim supposed to taste better in the spring. Let's find out. 선생님 시작하시죠. Oh,
I don't know how it tastes, but it's really pretty. And it looks like the spring, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks
with the
very
spring
nice.
vegetables on it. I'm so glad that Mrs. Lee is serving it, though, because I think serving it looks more complicated than cooking it.
Because usually you don't serve the whole fish.
No, in the West, usually we give people fish in portions, and so we don't have to cope with the difficulty of getting it off the bone.
Also, you do the fillet, nice fillet. But I don't think you actually can enjoy fish that way. Because you know what we say? We say, 어두 육미, which means you enjoy the head part of the fish, and then you enjoy the tail part of meat. And we get to enjoy just about every part of the fish, therefore.
We don't really enjoy the head part and the tail part, but I have heard that meat cooked with the bone does taste better than if you remove the bone in advance.
Yeah.
And we do normally bone our meat in advance.
Yeah, right. But I like the fish skin. I sometimes, when I was little, I always had a fight with my siblings who's going to get the fish eyeball first. Because we really enjoy just about everything.
Well, be my guest.
So you and I get to compete who gets the fish eyeball.
Actually, we rarely even eat the fish skin.
Is that right?
But, and to a certain degree, it makes sense because most of the fat is in the skin.
Yes, it
Except
tastes
in this
best.
case, we've bathed it so nicely in that flavor, it seems that you'd be making a mistake not to eat it.
Go ahead. 선생님도 드세요.
Now, we
Looks
don't use any
wonderful.
dipping sauce with this?
No, this because the braising
Add it
sauce
in,
is
add it
really
instead.
nice. You
Okay.
get to enjoy the sauce with the fish.
Very nice.
그러니까 이게 다 익었나 볼 때요. 이제 고기 같은 거는 이렇게 눌러보면 알잖아. 이렇게 탁
네,
고리가
네,
오르면. 근데
네.
생선을 할 때 어떻게 익은 줄을 알 수 있을까요?
잘라보면 안 되고요.
네.
거의 이제 시간으로 했을 때 눌러보거나 하지 않고 시간을 충분한 시간을 둬서 익혀서요.
그러니까 연한 불에, 약한
네,
불에 해야
약한
되겠군요.
불에서, 예.
Yeah. So you don't really want to poke it. If you do it, you kind of mess up with the shape. So in general, slow cooking and that won't really make the fish overcooked.
Oh, so even if you cook a little longer, it'll still be moist.
Right, but make sure you use just those low flame instead of high.
Also, the ginger that you used in cooking the fish has removed the fishy taste. So it's very mild in its taste.
Yeah, I mean, you probably use lemon or wine and those things. And this dish not only has ginger, we also have rice wine. It's called masur, which we use often with cooking. So it gives a nice sweet and then flavor that you get to enjoy with the fish.
Well, let's talk
Have
less
some
and
more.
eat more.
Yes. So, surrounded by water, Korea has many fish dishes. I hope you will try the king of fish at your next meal. Thank you for watching and be sure to join us again on our next show. 안녕히 계세요.